Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday morning at about 11 o'clock Central Time, and I'm Dr. John Sherk, and this is Brown Bag Lunch. Something for you to just kind of nibble on with your mind, maybe while you sit down and take a break today. What I want to talk about today are in the world of technicians, air conditioning technicians, there's a lot of talk about how to find people, how to hire quote good people, and um, what does this transition look like? And if you watch these, you've seen me say before that the social contract has changed. What used to be you need a job and I have a job, and that dynamic is going to kick off a relationship. That's really not true anymore. At this point, when you're trying to find talent, and for those of you who are technicians and hear this, when you are the talent, in this market, if you don't already have a job, there's some skepticism as to what's wrong, right? The people being recruited now all already have a job. The point being that there's no there's no one who's needing a job getting hired. There are only people leaving a job to go to another job, right? So the question is, what marks that transition? So, in my observation, there's basically five problems that get solved. In other words, in that first scenario, the problem is I need a job, and that problem gets solved by taking the job. But if you don't have that problem, then some other problem has to get solved in your process of recruiting that talent. Does this make sense? You can't simply offer jobs to people anymore because it doesn't solve a problem that they have. And if you're recruiting, you have to solve a problem. So there are basically five kind of categories of problems that technicians may have, and in your conversation with them, you need to identify which problem is the one that they have that would be solved if they came over and started working for you. Okay. Category one, immediate resource needs. This is where money or time is an issue. They don't have the money to pay the rent this month, or they're working 100-hour weeks right now and they feel like it's got to stop right now, right? That's a problem. If you say, look, if I'm solving one of those two, come on over today. We'll solve that problem right now. Okay. The second one are more long-term resource needs. And this is where they can pay the rent this month, but they know what they're doing is not sustainable, either financially or for a lot of guys, this is they get a little older and they feel like their bodies can't keep doing it, that they'll make a change based on long-term resource needs. Okay. If you're telling me I'm not putting away anything for retirement, and you're telling me you've got a 401k that works for me as a long-term resource need, that's a basis for that decision. Okay. Third are relationships. And this is a very common one. And I would encourage you, if you're recruiting a technician, just throw in the question, tell me about your boss. Um, there's there's a lot of technicians who don't want to quit their job, but they do want to quit their boss. And so not trying to throw anybody under the bus when I say that. I'm not saying it's easy to be a service manager or an owner. I'm just saying this is the reality, right? And so um, if it's clear to you that they have a negative relationship with the owners or the service managers where they are, and you offer something different, sell that, right? Sell that problem or sell that solution. Okay. Fourth is a problem category is respect or status. If they feel talked down to, if they feel like they're being seen as less than, um, like they don't get enough respect where they are. Sometimes this is tied in with the relationship issue. I very routinely hear techs talk frustrating, saying they're frustrated with how they get talked to by a dispatcher. And so if you feel like you solve this problem, right, then sell the solution in your recruiting, right? That's the two easiest sells. You've got to be better in-house. This is when you hear me talk about competing for talent with culture instead of wages, this is what I'm talking about. If your internal communication skills are better, you've created a better work environment, and somebody will leave one work environment to work in another one because they get respect there and they didn't get it where they were before. Okay. So that's the fourth category. And the fifth one is what I just call the pleasure of expertise. Um, yeah, a technician with 10 years of experience is very good at what they do. And it feels good to express that, like to walk up to a piece of equipment and be able to quickly diagnose what's wrong with it, sometimes just by the sound of it, right? The act of being good at something, if they don't have that experience enough for whatever reason, it's the way the job is set up, what they're sent to over and over again. Maybe they've been in residential and they want a more commercial experience because they want to expand their knowledge of different kinds of equipment. Well, for whatever reason, if they're having an insufficient pleasure of expertise, now this does not apply. I would not let it apply to someone with less than 5 years of experience, because you don't it doesn't feel this way at first. It feels challenging at first. And so this is someone who would be bored, someone who they feel is not allowed to do the job correctly. They're rushed off the job to the next one. Um, but they want to feel like they're craftsmen. They're good at what they do. And it feels good to do that. And if you can offer that to them and they don't have it where they currently are, then that's a solution to offer in recruiting. Okay. So let me recap what we just said here. Recruiting happens because somebody is getting a problem solved that they have with their current situation. Their current situation problem is not that they need a job, because they have one, but they do have other problems. And they fall into 5 categories: immediate resource needs, long-term resource needs, relationships, respect and status, and the pleasure of expertise. And you will beat the competition if you do 2 things. If you explore conversationally with that recruit what is the problem that they want to solve. If they say, look, I just want to make more money. Okay. I mean, what's that about? And sometimes, you know, it, there's nothing wrong with making more money, but it's worth getting into why. Is there a number? Is there a bill you have to pay? Is it you're not putting away for retirement? Is it like, what is that? Right. And then, secondly, pay attention internally in your company about what the relationships look like, what quality of communication is there. Are you offering the appropriate levels of respect and status, especially to experienced technicians? And what is is the work being set up so that these guys can feel good doing their jobs well? Right. And if you solve those 3 things right there, you've already created the right kind of environment, and you can feel confident offering that you solve this problem for them. Okay. That's it. My name's Dr. John Sherk. This has been Brown Bag Lunch. If you'd like to talk about this more, I'd love to sit down with you or get on a Zoom call and get to know each other a little bit better. See you next week.